welcome to my third comic book discussion featuring my brother from another mother, joeydrawz. What's up, Joe?
What up, man?
Nothing much, man. Before we get started, I'm definitely going to, because my friend told me that last time we did the video, nothing could really be heard because of the sound effects. So I'm going to lower everything significantly, like by half.
That's a good call.
Yeah. Go half. Just go half now. We were discussing something very interesting. It's Batman vs Superman related. On like but it's not like what we were discussing yesterday. Not yesterday, the week before. It's about the unrated cut, the one that had certain scenes that were cut out, and how some of these scenes they were kept in would have made sense in the movie. It would have made it better. Which brings us to
Superman's guilt.
Like Superman's guilt, yeah. And this brings me on to another discussion. When do movies make bad decisions to cut certain scenes?
I think it starts with either the studio or the filmmaker, really.
It does, yeah, but like sometimes you need to think about common sense when you're cutting a scene out of a film. I mean, yes, too much show is going to be a little bit annoying. But still, there are some scenes where you just legitimately can't cut because it won't make the scene. It'll make the scene make much more sense if you don't cut it. Like in Harry Potter, when in Harry Potter, like in the Sorcerer's Stone, they have the end where they have that deleted scene where they're inside of the library, and Hermione gets the idea to get the book. It's never explained where she got the idea. And then in the deleted scene, it showed that they're all in the
restricted section.
Yeah, in the cafeteria, and they're eating with the others. And he finds a card that mentions Nicholas Flamel, and Hermione just suddenly gets a light bulb. The next scene is her at the library. That made sense.
Yeah, and not to mention, we all know Hermione might have some form of OCD and remember something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that scene came out of the blue where she's in the library. Like, I can't believe you let me took you to the wrong section. I can't believe that's so stupid.
Well, you could also write it off as some, like, Hermione, we all know, is someone who probably spends most of her time in the library. So you could probably chalk that up to, like, oh, she saw it. But then again, that brings to the point you made, what would just make her think of Nicholas Flamel? She never read the book before that. Also, Hagrid said something about Nicholas Flamel. It's been a while since I saw Sorcerer's Stone, so I guess you could chalk it up to that. Yeah. But the point is, though, it's much better explained there. If, like, basically if you didn't get the hidden the first time, you get it. But here's the thing, scenes get cut all the time, right? Whether the movie is too long, whether it's a pacing problem, or the scene just doesn't fit. Like Kill Bill Volume 2, there was a scene with Michael Jai White, and it was filmed like an old like kung fu movie, like they talked in ridiculous accents and shit like that. And they cut the movie, and they cut it. But the truth is, you watch Kill Bill Volume 2, and then watch that scene, it doesn't belong. You know what I mean? So I get why that scene was cut. It's a good scene, it's a cool scene, just doesn't belong in the movie.
Yeah.
Problem is, I've theorized that Batman v Superman was going to be the Alien 3 of comic book movies, and essentially you had this movie that was fantastic. Had a lot of balls to do what it was going to do, and then for whatever reason just got butchered.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
But like Alien 3, I think that it is going to gather some more acclaim once it ages more and when people see what could have been.
I can see that,
you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't excuse the fact they did it, because you shouldn't have to... Okay, we all paid like, what, $11, $15, whatever, for our tickets to see the movie. And as much as I like the theatrical cut, we got to pay an additional, what, $20 other to see the real movie. So that's why I'm urging people right now, if you did not see that movie in theaters and you want the real experience, wait and pay the $30, go to Redbox, whatever, watch the Ultimate Edition.
Yes, or Putt Locker, in my opinion. However, if you do not have ad blocker, you will be brought to a porn site. I know this from
And no
personal
one wants
experience
that because
from my
Ashley will fuck up what
professors.
you're
From my
thinking.
professor, I gave her advice. I gave her advice for a streaming site. I said Putt Locker during class. She clicked on a movie, brought me right to porn. I had to walk out of the classroom in shame because I was embarrassed. Luckily, no one saw me.
But also, I think it's just common sense to download ad blocker because you log on to the internet and you didn't want to get to what you wanted to get to. It's always like you fucking YouTube ads. You can barely
Yeah,
skip
it's
them
either
anymore.
YouTube ad, it's either porn, or it's some crappy spam.
Yeah, just like yeah, how many fake Rolex ads have you seen today? You know?
Yeah, with ad blocker, none.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and right now I'm even watching.
But
I'm even watching a Flash versus Arrow on my computer right now off Potlocker, and I have ad blocker, so I didn't go to porn. Mention I
we
walked
just
out the
did a
door before,
commercial
but
for
yeah,
ad blocker.
yeah, definitely go for ad blocker
But
as well. Yeah, and back to our discussions. Now I want to discuss recently. There has been development of Ron Perlman that he wants to play Cable in the next Deadpool movie, which I think he could do well for Deadpool for a Cable.
I can
Because
see it.
me
But
too, yeah. Because
oh,
look
I'm
at Ron
sorry.
Perlman. He's everything he's usually in. He's sarcastic, he's a little bit witty, and he's like a total badass half the time. What is Cable? A guy that handles weight. He's like sarcastic half the time, and it's always like
He's a badass.
a badass. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with Cable. I just sort of know what he looks like, but
Have you played the Deadpool game?
I have not.
Ah, you got it. I'll lend it to you next time we see you. I have it for
Wait,
yeah, I have it for PS4. I'll lend it to you.
wait.
Yes. I mean, it's a good game. It's underrated as all hell. It actually gets the character Deadpool right. Unlike mostly like the unlike Ryan Reynolds did good. He did really good. I was about to say
Ryan
like there
Reynolds.
hasn't been another representation of Deadpool that was better, but then I realized Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. The weird thing is, after the movie, whenever I see the Deadpool comic or something, or whenever, someone shares something about Deadpool, I always read it in Ryan Reynolds' voice for some reason.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And actually,
I mean, it used to be Nolan
yeah,
North, and now it's Ryan Reynolds.
yeah. Actually, nobody really knows this, but half of the things they're making fun of, like the budgeting, that was all true. Very last minute, Deadpool's budget was cut astronomically. They didn't have enough money to keep all the guns, like for
Yeah, that's
Deadpool.
actually why they wrote in the scene
Forgets the
where he
duffel
left
bag.
the bag in the car.
Yeah, because those are all the weapons that everybody else uses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, I think that's why they were allowed to get away with the R rating, more of a chance to earn its money back, even though it won it back and then some. That movie
and then some.
was a
They actually
beast
made #1 on the top on the box market top.
of R rated. Yeah, the highest grossing R rated movie of all
Highest grossing
time.
R-rated movie of all time, highest grossing comic book movie of all time, because by God, that was the best. This is what happens when you allow a fan of a comic book to allow a little bit of leeway in writing of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unlike what happened with Batman v Superman, they wanted the movie to be one thing, and then they were like, "Okay, you can't do that."
yeah, and they didn't take their time with it. They were obviously rushed, and even though they had an astronomical budget, they could have done much more than what they did. As
Well,
well as,
actually, the movie was finished 2 years ago. It was been in the editing process because there was like all this debate about the content of the movie.
yeah, you can kind of tell, but like still, through the editing, I feel like they were rushing the editing because a lot of the stuff that is in there. Also, in my opinion, you don't kill Superman after 2 movies. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back to that later. Now I want to talk about like how because movies that have a fan, like an actor who's a fan of the comics, get some writing privileges in that. I mean, Ryan Reynolds was a fan of Deadpool. He wanted to play Deadpool in X-Men Origins. However, he was forced to play Deadpool.
Barakapool.
Yeah, Barakapool. He said he didn't want to, but he was literally forced to do it because if he didn't do it, then he would never ever be able to get to play Deadpool ever in life. That was part of his contract.
And now look,
And
he
now he made one of the
basically
yeah.
revolutionized comic book movies.
Oh yeah, revolutionized it 100%. And
But there is something that
yep,
worries me about this though.
what?
Alright, R-rated comic book movies, they've been around for a while. The Crow, Blade,
Yeah.
fucking,
Actually, I ran into a retarded person the other day. I said, Deadpool's the first ever rated R comic movie. I'm like,
Watchmen, 300, Sin City. I
I
was actually
literally was,
watching
I
Sin
literally,
City
I was,
before
I was
this.
like, I tapped him on the shoulder, like, Watchmen, 300, Sin City, freaking, ow, my
V
finger
for
hurts.
Vendetta.
V for Vendetta. I cracked my finger really hard. That really hurt. Okay, V for Vendetta, Blade.
All three of them.
Yeah, all three. The third one sucked. All three Blades
It was rated R, so it counts.
counts. Yeah, unfortunately.
But the weird thing is, look at the way why Deadpool was rated R, because I love Deadpool, but it was essentially a comic book Seth Rogen movie.
That's what that's what Deadpool
Yeah, I know.
essentially is.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing for Deadpool, but what I'm worried is now that Deadpool is such a hit, they're going to be making more R-rated comic book movies, and I'm glad they are because there are characters that need to be rated R.
Yeah,
If
like
Deadpool came out,
Lobo. If they make a movie about him, they gotta make that rated R.
yes, but hear this: if Deadpool had came out, like let's say if Deadpool came out 4 months prior to when it did,
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, they wouldn't have cut what they cut out because they would have been comfortable with it getting the R rating. But now my whole thing is, what if they make these R-rated comic book movies more comedic for characters that shouldn't be comedic? Because they're like, oh, since Deadpool was a
Yeah,
titty
like
comedy,
Moon
they're
Knight,
gonna make
rated
other
R.
characters like, hey guys, cock.
Yeah. I mean, if you have
Because let's
Deadpool in
face it,
it,
they
yes, he's
abuse
gonna be
it.
funny because he's basically comic relief in anything he's in. But when you
Yeah,
add it to characters that aren't really gonna be comic relief, it's gonna ruin the entire thing. With
but
Wesley
it's also
Snipes, even with and I honestly Blade, it was a good movie, not a great movie. Still, Blade's character, they only gave him a minimal amount of comic relief. Like they gave him one or two funny lines to say, and for the most part, he was serious.
yeah.
That is Blade.
He had a personality, but he was still okay. I'm on the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the whole thing is, though, let's face it, the way Hollywood works is if something's a success once, they look at face value as to
And
what
then
made
they
it
just
a success.
overpump the shit out of it.
Yeah, like after Star Wars came out, how many spaceship movies were there? And at least 9 out of 10 of them were terrible.
Uh, the first Star
No,
Wars,
yeah,
the
when Star Wars,
New Hope.
when the original Star Wars came out, there was nothing else like it. There was Star Trek, but I don't think the first Star Trek movie had came out yet. So Star Trek was still relatively on the low budget side of things. But when Star Wars came out and that was like a big budget spaceship movie, people just said like, "Hey, spaceships make money. Star Wars is the highest grossing movie of all time. So let's make a bunch of spaceship movies." And they're all terrible because they missed the point as what made Star Wars great. What made Star Wars
Exactly.
great was the characters and the way the effects complemented said characters. It
And
didn't, but that they saw the face value and they were like, you know what? We're just gonna milk this because these seem to make money and it's just gonna go around, and
yeah,
we're just gonna play the same card.
and nowhere is that more obvious than one particular movie that comes to mind: Star Chaser: The Legend of Orin, which I have watched and is basically one giant freaking Star Wars ripoff.
Yeah, I
And
heard about that.
you heard about that? I was
Yeah,
like,
fucking when The Force Awakens came out, like people were just talking. There was like this history of Star Wars thing, and someone was mentioning like Star Wars ripoffs that came out,
yeah,
and that movie in particular was highlighted.
yeah, it was because it is basically because they and it literally is mentioned. I've seen it and I've also looked at reviews of it, and before I saw it, They literally cut. They usually like they shoot certain scenes that replicate very famous Star Wars scene, and a lot of their characters are basically giant Star Wars ripoffs. Like there's a smuggler. There's an old guy who's like Obi-Wan Kenobi in ghost form. There's a kid with very long hair and a magic sword that is able to cut through almost anything.
No, totally not a Star Wars ripoff.
Star Wars ripoff? What's that? This is no Star
Yeah,
Wars ripoff. It is pure genius.
yeah. But you know what else? Even look at it like this: the 1990s Jurassic Park was the thing. That was
Yeah,
the movie,
so
right?
many
Everyone
sci-fi B movies that were about dinosaurs made back then.
they took Godzilla and made him probably the biggest, most sadly most successful Jurassic Park ripoff ever.
It was. And if any of you doubt that, compare every one of the baby Godzilla scenes with the Velociraptor attack scenes in the Jurassic Park film. You will see the comparison ripoffs.
But unfortunately, they're not worth the crap on Steven Spielberg's shoes.
They are not.
But the thing is, though, like you could tell, like that was a movie. They had a rights to something that was reptilian in some degree. What
Yeah.
else is kind of reptilian? The dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. So let's
Yeah.
just take the way they move because that seems to be the thing,
Yeah.
and make that.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Let me think about
And that just shows they're
And
just gonna milk
even
things.
Avatar, good movie that revolutionized like 3D. However, that caused everything, even movies that don't really need it, to be in 3D. Although
Yeah.
Kate Winslet's nipple in Titanic has potential.
Well, I'm all for re-releasing movies. Like, I think there are some movies that are greatly serviced in 3D. Like Titanic, I could see. I didn't see it in 3D. As a matter of fact, I didn't see Titanic until about 2 months ago.
I don't like Titanic. I only like that one scene with Kate Winslet. Mm.
It's actually a pretty good. I enjoyed it, but it did what it was supposed to do. We all know the ship's gonna sink anyway, so it gave us a reason we hope it not to sink. So still, there's a bit of tension there. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean.
But the point is, like, there are movies that can be greatly serviced in 3D. I'm all for re-releasing movies. I think it gives the next generation a chance to experience why these movies were great. When I saw Jurassic Park in 3D,
Yeah. It was
that's my
awesome.
favorite. That's my second. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I saw
Me
the movie at a
too.
young age. It influenced me in so many ways. But the point is, when I got to see it in 3D in the theater, because I saw it, I was born a few years after it came out, so I didn't have that luxury to see it when it came out.
Yeah, I watched it
But
I watched it when it was in 3D, like you did. When I watched it, I thought it was awesome. But even the awesomeness of Jurassic Park, we sort of missed some what's the word I'm looking for? Some odd things that had to some son of a bitch. What was I saying?
well, it was good to see the fact that we got to experience it with a generation who didn't see this movie and didn't understand the
Yeah,
importance of it.
exactly. And introduce our
And
children
also, what I
to
love about it,
decapitated
it was
armies.
virtually unchanged. The only thing they might have did was touch up the effects a little bit. But that's
Yeah,
it.
agreed.
Not to mention the special effects didn't really need much touching up, and that movie's about 25 years old.
Yeah. And also one thing. Oh yeah, plot holes and like plot devices. Like, for example, I like how they send Samuel L. Jackson out to go to the power, and when the girl wants to go, they're all, no, no, this is a man's job. No, 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 no. Do you ever notice that? Like
Yeah, I noticed that. Well, actually, it's this one guy.
yeah, when Sam Jackson wants to go out there, they're like, oh, okay, go on, be safe. When the girl goes out, they send the fucking hunter with him with a shotgun. Guy
Well,
goes out unarmed.
also look at it like this. That's how it happened in the book. So they wanted to, I guess, in that degree, stay true to the book, even though the movie as a whole is vastly different from the book.
Yeah. And
But
also Jeff Goldblum. I know, like, back then his acting was like everybody used to love his acting back when he was in Jurassic Park, when he got really that much recognition. But then he fell in love with his acting and became, as I call him, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, in some of his later movies, you could definitely tell that. I mean, he calmed down with it. Like, I think towards the end of the 90s is when the starting to take over. But Jurassic Park 1, he was great in. The Fly, he was great in.
Yeah.
Independence Day, I've never seen it.
Uh, Everybody loves that movie. I'm in between on that.
I mean, I'm a bit biased towards it because I fucking hate Roland Emmerich, and I think people should know why I hate Roland Emmerich.
Why don't you tell him?
Okay, let's see. He basically butchered Godzilla. He insulted my intelligence with 2012 and 10,000 BC, and he fucking bored me to death with The Day After Tomorrow. The only
Of
good movie that he
course.
was actually
Yeah. Actually, you want to know something
The
very
Patriot.
funny?
Great movie,
In
by the way. I love
Godzilla,
The Patriot.
yeah. In Godzilla, do you know the mayor and his assistant character? Those characters
Yeah,
were
it
designed to make fun of America's most beloved critics, Siskel and Ebert. However, it failed so badly that Siskel and Ebert even said, "I don't get why you didn't take full advantage of having the monster eat us or squash us."
yeah. It seemed like they didn't know how to handle criticism, like
They don't. Well,
because they
that's because they should probably get their thumbs out of their asses when they actually do these films. Because I've watched
look people
Stargate.
got
As much as I like it, I also hate it because it did open up the Stargate, quote unquote, to say to one of my favorite shows, Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis. But all around it was pretty bad of a movie. Plot didn't really make
not to me.
sense, and also theoretically and realistically, it doesn't make sense as a whole.
Well, that's the whole point of science fiction. You have to make it viable. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
entirely
but the way
realistic.
they
But then
did it, it
again,
wasn't even viable because the way that it did it is like their technology, they're using alien technology in the past, like years ahead of its time. Don't you think it would have been found by anyone? Think it would have been found by ancient Egyptians and used to enhance civilization?
that's true. But keep in mind, I'm not defending the movie. I haven't. We have computers and all that shit. I'm pretty sure we'd be more in tune into alien technology now than as opposed to if we had it millennia ago.
Yeah.
But then again, like I'm not the best with technology. I don't know how it works. I know how to use it. I took a computer engineering class and I failed it miserably.
As
So
have I. As have I. I dropped out of that class
yes,
too.
I'm calling myself a dumbass. I'm the one person on any podcast or whatever ever whatever this thing is called ever to call themselves a
Hey, you went the
dumbass.
only one. I glorify that I'm a dumbass on here.
Yeah, I seen your Facebook post.
Yeah. Anywho,
But
yeah.
the thing is with science fiction though, with any sci-fi movie ever, there are certain realms that shouldn't be crossed. But you should still like there still needs to be rules to it because sci-fi and fantasy, you have the ability to do whatever you want more so than in any other genre. But you still need to set rules. If you just go rampant
Yeah,
with
like
like let's
our
say
aliens have the
an
ability to
object falls.
fly. No reasons, just they can fly. Like, is it
Yeah, you don't
technology?
look.
Is
You
it?
don't have to explain it, but don't make it like okay, he could fly 1 second and then like someone and then he can't another, or the fact that like let's say if he get you know what I mean, like you need to keep it consistent and you need to keep it within boundaries because you still need to tell the story,
Agreed, they do
you
need to
know,
tell the story.
like Star Wars, the original trilogy and The Force Awakens told their story. They put the story first. And they went to great efforts to tell the story, and that's why George Lucas, watch interviews with him after he sold the rights. He became the most humble, down to earth person ever. It's like he knows his mistakes. You
Yeah, I
know?
know. Yeah, I'm just opening up our conversation on here just so I make sure no one's messaging me. Nope. No, silence. There we go. Anyway, sorry about that. So, what were you
Not a
saying?
problem.
I'm sorry.
Oh fuck, I don't even know what I was
Okay.
saying.
So, shall we start a new topic then? Alright,
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I got a short attention span.
so do I. Okay, so very recently, I have come across very specific rumors that Darkseid is not. Hey, we got a viewer. Hello, viewer. Welcome to the
Oh
comic
shit!
discussions. We're morons.
Can I tell us who it is?
Let me see. It is. I don't. I actually don't think I can.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Well, you get to hear me.
Actually, I think I know who it is. K.
All right. We'll take what we could get. Hi, how are ya? And
Hi. Yeah.
if I know you,
If you have any
it's probably been
questions
a
about,
while.
if
So
you have any questions about anything we're talking about, I think I might know who you are. But if you have any questions who we're talking about, anything we're talking about, or anything you want to like put into this conversation, definitely say it. I have the comics up, I have the comments up over here, so we can just definitely do that. So anyway,
I can't see shit, so he's gonna have to dictate it. So
yeah, I'll dictate. Yeah. So how about what was it? Oh yeah, Batman vs Superman. There have been many
oh, you
rumors
said
that
Darkseid, how he's not gonna be the main villain.
yeah, how he's not gonna be the main villain. That it's actually oh,
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. Yeah. I mean, he is a part of Darkseid's crew. Why not just have Darkseid?
Because if you look at it, and I was having a conversation with another one of my friends, every time they do a comic book movie, they always go after the big fish, the big baddie, you know what I mean, to put in the first movie, and they waste it. Think about it, in Spider-Man 1, the one from the
Green
early
Goblin.
2000s, yeah, and they killed him off, and then they realized we can't do anything. Well, he was true to the comics. That's how he died in the comics.
That was how he died in the comics. That was true.
But like I said, you had this great villain, and then you got rid of him.
Agreed.
Whereas that's what I like about what DC's doing. They didn't take the most beloved villains, and Marvel does this too. Like Loki was a villain. I mean, he was one of the Avengers, like big bad guys, but he wasn't like the big one everyone wanted to stop. That was either Thanos or Galactus, and they've been building up to Thanos. When that movie comes out, it'll be almost 8 years that they'll be building the shit up.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that build-up, that's a really good build-up they had.
I just hope that he could live up to it, because Marvel, with their villains, are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the only exception is Ajax.
But that wasn't even Marvel. Marvel Studios with their villains have been terrible with all except Loki. I think we had Obadiah in Iron Man 1, and they fucking ruined him in Civil War. Then we had Red Skull, and we had Loki.
I mean, the actor playing Red Skull was gorgeous. I love him in anything he really does. He also played V in Vendetta.
Hugo Weaving, great actor. He needs to be in more movies. He really does.
He needs to be more movies. Yeah.
But the thing is, though, look at that. What DC's doing is they're gonna build up Darkseid, and that's the good thing. Like they know Darkseid. They know they can't do what Marvel's doing with Thanos, right? We already know Darkseid's coming, so what they're going to do is they're still gonna build him up the best they could, and that's why I'm glad Steppenwolf is a character that a lot of people don't know. He wasn't, as far as I know, he wasn't even on the Justice League cartoon. There were no animated movies about him.
Yeah,
and I think that this is a great chance to give him recognition.
Yeah. I read DC Comics a lot. I don't even know who Steppenwolf is.
Yeah, like, that's why I'm glad they're not going right to their big guy and they're just gonna waste him like that, you know?
Yeah. You know, I want to see Lobo either in his own movie or as a cameo in one of these movies. Because he is so needed. Because he's like... let me find a good way to explain what he is. He's like
psychotic.
He's like Deadpool, but more motorcycle fetish looking guy.
Deadpool of Anarchy, pretty much.
Deadpool of Anarchy. For a science project, he quite literally destroyed his own planet and gave himself an edge. That's it.
Yeah, he's the biggest asshole you ever met in your life.
Yeah, he's kind of like that psychotic friend that wants something with anarchy in the classroom.
Yeah,
like you and I.
They should do something with him, though. I mean, The DC universe in phase 1, right? Let's be honest here. It's still in its phase 1. It's still in its infancy.
Agreed.
So I think they have more time to do stuff. And actually, can say something here. I like that they brought Darkseid in, and I like the way they handled the death of Superman. Whether or not it wasn't an accurate comic representation, I'm just saying the way Superman's arc was. And the cool thing was, you could bring Darkseid back. In the comics, it is not out of character or canon. You could bring this character back.
Agreed.
It's not like Venom in Spider-Man 3 when they fucking blew him up like after 5 minutes of screen time, because we all know the only thing to kill a symbiote is Sonics and fire, and they fucking wasted Venom within 5 minutes, and there is no coming back. He cannot come back. Doomsday can come back. Superman can come back. He has come back. Both of them have come back.
Agreed. Well, you say come back, but just really woken up for Superman because
Resurrection.
Because because the comic book company didn't want to upset their fans, so they made it so that he was in a quote unquote Kryptonian coma, which I was rather upset about when I first read the Death of Superman series. I wanted to see a hero that the Earth loves die honorably and be respected by all the Earth. Even Lex Luthor came to his funeral to pay his respects.
Yeah.
And then you have Kryptonian coma.
Then you have the healing coma, and it was like, oh shit. And it was like, oh well. But that's one of the things I like about DC Comics more than Marvel is like they know like, hey, we could always do the great reboot and start a new universe.
Agreed.
Marvel's had the same universe.
Even Robot Chicken made a comedy of it. They're at Green Arrow's funeral, and Batman just wanted to say, you know what? No, I'm not making a funeral speech because he's just gonna come back somehow. And then
it's like the rule of comics: no one ever stays dead.
Green Arrow, who's sitting at his own funeral, says, "I agree with you, Batman." It's like, wait, how are you alive? It's DC. How else can you explain it?
Marvel brings back characters too, you know, like DC is just more known for doing it because they've done it multiple times, but they know like, hey, instead of us dragging this shit on, let's just do this great reboot so we don't run out of ideas, and the ideas we come up with don't just seem like they're coming out of left field. Like Marvel, when the stupidest one storyline ever, fucking One More Day. Which, don't get me started how much that story fucking pissed me off. And then the fucking Spider-Man in Doc Ock's body and vice versa. God, it's stupid.
I mean, I liked Spider-Man 2 as a fact. It showed us what happens when a hero falls. When he loses power.
I'm talking about the comics.
Oh, the comics? Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember the stupid One More Day storyline where he gave up his love for Mary Jane?
Yeah.
And then somehow, like, Harry Osborn is still alive, and Flash Thompson is like, best friend and shit.
Also, what I hated about this Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is that they wasted the Gwen Stacy relationship. In the comics, that was a huge turning point for Spider-Man. Losing his first real girlfriend, like that. It basically put him in
such a dramatic way that it was his fault.
But it was his fault. It actually pushed him more to being a hero, but also put him in like a depression.
Operator. I get a little worked up when it
He lost.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just typing a friend.
Are they watching? Are we getting any questions?
No, we're not getting any questions. No, we're not getting any questions just yet. Once again, viewers, if you have questions, tell me. I might just cancel this thing altogether. They're not even answering me.
Oh, just the one viewer that is watching right now,
still,
please.
Yep. And it's a she. I think I know who's watching. I'm not going to say any names, but I'm going to tell you, Joe, it begins with a K, and I think you know who it is.
Okay. Hi. How's it going? Well, point is though, like that's the problem with a lot of comic book movies. They waste villains, fucking what's it called? Captain America Civil War, no different by killing Crossbones off. A villain that has so much weight in the Civil War. They just put him in there because he was in the Civil War storyline, but had no idea of the purpose he served.
It's like, oh, he's a storyline. Okay, let's put him in there and then we'll kill him off.
Let's just throw him in the movie and then kill him off within 5 minutes.
Well, then were they smoking when they wrote this shit?
I don't know, and tell you the truth, like, I don't know why Civil War gets as much praise as it does. It's a good movie. I can't say it's a bad movie. It's bad. It's good. It's got a lot of problems, though, that nobody talks about.
Yeah,
you want the best Marvel movie?
Similar quote-unquote problems that are the same problem. That are the same quote-unquote
What people bitched about Batman v Superman, it's in Civil War, and way more apparent.
Yeah, it's because it's Marvel, and like nowadays, because DC took so long to get out there in the cinematic universe as it is right now, Marvel is more loved. So you have those like assholes that are like, oh, it's Marvel, it's the greatest thing ever. Everything they do is good.
Let's not forget how they ruined Ultron too. That's another wasted villain.
That was beyond wasted. Beyond wasted. Also beyond incorrect on how Ultron was created.
You know what? If you want to make Tony Stark the creator of Ultron and use that to create tension, yes, I'm down with that. If you're going to change something that services the story, yes, not everything's going to be 100%, but the way they changed Ultron didn't service anything. They only needed...
in any comic book variation is emotionless. He's a robot, devoid of emotion. He doesn't want to surpass his successor. He wants to surpass all of humanity. Wipe it out to save the Earth. In his head,
and I think if they had done that, he would have been scary.
He would have been scary.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't scared of Ultron. I was not scared of Ultron.
I found him to be a whining crybaby.
Yeah, I mean, I thought his voice was cool, and I liked his design.
Yeah, me too. The design was awesome, but all wasted. All totally freaking wasted.
And they just fucking killed him off, and they gave him some cool lines in the trailer and everything, and they made him scary in the trailer. But when you watch the movie, he's not scary at
even
all.
Even in the posters, he had really intimidating features. Knocking down, like sitting in the seat where Abe Lincoln is in that statue, holding the head of Tony Stark, or like surrounded by the weapons of the Avengers, and he looked more intimidating in the poster. How do you manage to make something look more intimidating in a poster than you do in your actual film? That's kind of misrepresentation.
It's a bad movie. It's simple as that. And Joss Whedon himself admits he hated we're making that movie because he couldn't make the movie he wanted to make. Avengers 1, they let him make the movie he wanted to make.
Agreed. And I would understand them not wanting to let him write, considering what they did with what he did with Alien Resurrection.
No, Alien Resurrection wasn't his fault. Again, he wrote a movie that was entirely different, and the studio went to him and said, put Sigourney Weaver in it.
Yeah, that's because they didn't want to feel any more backlash from Alien 3 and the death of Ripley, which I thought was brilliant. I mean, yes, I was upset they killed Ripley. I loved Ripley as a character. I honestly don't find Sigourney Weaver attractive whatsoever.
That wasn't really the point of Ripley. Ripley was
but
like...
she's supposed to be a strong, independent woman. I get that. That's what I liked about it. But still...
But not out of touch with her humanity. Like, people confuse strong and independent with
sex appeal.
I was going to say overpoweredness, which are two completely different things, but I think that's a topic for another day altogether.
Yeah.
But if you look what Joss Whedon did, when he doesn't have people breathing down his neck, Serenity, a movie that people really loved, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that people really loved, along with its spin-off Angel. And because he got to do what he wanted to do, and then Age of Ultron came around and he cracked under pressure.
He had literally no choice. He had to write with the director tell him, otherwise he wouldn't get any funding.
Yeah, and you know what, people, let's be honest, a lot of the people who got fired from Marvel, not a lot of people from Marvel Studios enjoy working for them.
I would imagine. It's more or less a dictatorship. because it is literally their way or the highway on the way it goes to writing. I mean, I loved Guardians of the Galaxy, but they completely wasted a important character, uh, uh, the Accuser, Ronan the Accuser. He's actually supposed to be a good guy. He's literally on the task force that's assigned to kill Thanos in the comic books. And here they made him an overdramatic sissy.
Yeah.
I mean, well, not a sissy
And
entirely, but still, like, he was
he's
a
just not
whiny
a
little
memorable
bitch.
villain at all.
He was just the entire time a whiny little bitch. I wanted to smack him.
And he committed the cardinal sin of pretty much any movie character. He was forgettable. And to what you're saying, someone said a movie character and a comic book character are different. And to that degree, yes. But you should still respect the comic book material. You should still have that be a representation of what that character is. You know?
Agreed.
Like, you can't take someone like that who's a good guy and turn him into a villain, and then on top of that, a forgettable one.
Agreed.
I can't remember one thing about Ronan other than the scene of him calling Thanos an asshole.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
We learned nothing about him. We're not afraid of his plot. We're afraid of the henchmen, but when of what they're doing and we feel the tension, we know that we have to stop it. But we don't feel the tension. We don't feel afraid of him as a person, as a character.
Agreed.
You know? Like Vader, Kylo...
Yeah.
Well, think about this. Darth Vader is widely regarded as the best cinema villain of all time. I happen to agree with that.
I agree with that. 100%.
He had legions of people under his command. And he didn't have to kill you. He could have sent someone to kill you. But when he walked into the room, and when he walked into the room, you were afraid. You were drawn to him. There are scenes where he doesn't say anything, and you are still focused on him because you know he's thinking about something, and you are afraid of what he's going to do. And he's not without his soft spots. He's not without he has a character arc. But the point is, as a villain, you need to be threatened by them, and you need to understand their motives. It's just like with a movie monster. The rule one of any movie monster is you have to be afraid of it.
Agreed.
You know,
like Alien.
I think
the very first Alien movie, I was fucking terrified. I was a young child when I first watched Alien, and I'm still haunted by that pipe scene. One of the best jump scares in that movie, the fucking pipe scene, where
the only jump scare in that movie, honestly.
Yeah, the only jump scare in that movie. But the hype from that was incredible. It's like, actually, I played the recent Resident Evil 7 demo, and I did a Let's Play on it. It scared the shit out of me because of the hype and the anticipation it gave me, the atmosphere. The atmosphere in and of itself was scary as hell. And it worked silence to its advantage. Like, when you're watching a movie like Alien, it sometimes does that, but also can use loudness and music to give you a good scare. And also, the costume for Alien was really fucking good.
And even, like, it wasn't perfect, but they still lit it, and they shot around the imperfections.
They did.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's also, you were afraid of the monster. Just like I think any villain, you need to be afraid. You need to be a little bit afraid of them, you know? The best villains,
Agreed.
even the sympathetic villains, you have to fear at some point. You have to there has to be something to show you that they have to be stopped.
Yeah, that you're afraid of them. That they're forced to be reckoned with. Now, Independence Day, they just looked like any kind of typical alien you would see on, like, one of those Martian magazines. It's like little green men.
You know, even, what was it? I know it's not really a movie villain, this is sort of back to monsters, and there are differences between a villain, which is an actual character, and a movie monster, which, you know, isn't a character. In some cases, is like a character, but can't emote the same way an actor could. Like
Yeah.
King Kong, you are supposed to feel sympathy for him, right?
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
But when you first meet Kong, you're supposed to fear him. You're supposed to be afraid of him, like Anne is, until Anne realizes that he's not so bad. He's a misunderstood creature. But when we as an audience, like the people in the movie, are supposed to be afraid of him at first. And that's why I think Godzilla 1998 failed. You're never afraid of the monster. There's
Agreed.
no stakes. Because let's face it, the monster is too easily killed. It's not a command. It doesn't have a commanding force. You know what I mean? Like, granted, the T-Rex in Jurassic Park is an animal. There's nothing special about it. You could shoot it down probably. But so what did we do when we meet this thing? We're with a group of civilians. They can't do anything to stop it, and it's significantly bigger than them. So then their fear translates to us.
Agreed.
I mean, it acts like an animal. It really does, but it's the same way as if a lion was in front of you and you have a pillow or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I know. Even in like some scenes in Jurassic Park, how Alan's like literally watching the T-Rex eat and like giving a play-by-play of it in front of the building. He's like exploring the unknown.
Yeah, but they're still afraid of the thing, you know? I mean, it's doing what it does best. It's doing what God put it on this earth to do. But that's why we fear it, because we're powerless against it.
Actually, have you ever seen the 1939 version of The Haunting?
I have not.
Have you seen the remake?
Unfortunately.
That is a perfect example of that. And whoever hasn't seen The Happening, I can give you a rundown of the newer one. The newer one is literally like a haunting. Like ghosts and ghouls, and like a cliche upon cliche of endings. You know what I'm talking about, Jim.
Yeah.
And what happens in this entire thing is that in the original, it was more psychological. You didn't know whether this haunting was real or not. It's left to your imagination to know whether this is real or this is a part of a delusion. Because it's about because the difference between the original and the newer one is that there is actually a case study on ghosts. They're trying to see if this ghost is real, as well as some characters are not as sexified as Joeydrawz.
But yeah, that's because it was made in an age where people actually thought about what was in front of them.
Oh, Sita.
You know?
Jones.
Okay, keep it in your pants there, Slick.
So, sorry. Just thinking about that.
But the thing is though, it did play with those values, and that used the fear of the unknown to scare us.
Effectiveness, yes.
The
fear of the unknown is my favorite thing. If it gets it right, it's my favorite thing in a horror movie. Having the unknown factor in your pocket, it's one of the best. What was I saying? One of the best things to have, because if you have an unknown factor, then nothing. Like, literally, nothing's going on. You're just like, huh? What? What the hell's going on? What the fuck's going on? You don't know what's going on, and half the times it's led to a disappointing letdown, like in most Stephen King miniseries. However, some movies, they do it really, really well.
Godzilla 2014, I think, is a movie that did it well.
Yeah, me too.
You know? It builds up to this climax, and this whole thing, what any monster movie does, at the end of the movie, we're supposed to cheer for Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
We built him up as the equalizer, but again, when he shows up, we fear him. We try to kill him.
Yeah.
We want him dead like everything else until we learn he's hunting these things. These things are a bigger threat. He realizes that, so that's why he's doing what he's doing. But note, again, we're afraid of him. We are powerless. In 1998, we are not afraid of this thing. We can kill it very easily. We can't hit the target, which is stupid. Someone said that the 2014 movie glorified the U.S. military in every decision it makes, when in actuality it does the exact opposite. But you want to know something? At least in that movie, they could hit what they're shooting at.
Yeah, barely, but still.
I mean, when they shot at Godzilla, when they shot the Mutos, they hit it. You know what I mean? They hit Godzilla, they hit the Muto. You know, it wasn't like they caused more damage than Godzilla or any of them did. I don't say what you will. I don't approve of every decision the U.S. military makes, but something tells me if they shoot at something, they're not likely to miss.
Agreed.
But like I said, that's fear. Even Doomsday in Batman v Superman, we don't know. We're afraid of him because, let's face it, we see Superman struggling against it, you know?
Agreed. 100%.
Even Batman is kind of an antagonist in the movie, and we are afraid of him. The first time we see him, he brands somebody, you know?
Brand's a sex offender, yeah.
And he's just terrifying.
Beyond terrifying.
Even at the end of the movie, when he's in the jail cell, you can't tell me you weren't pissing yourself.
I was gonna.
When he fucking came on screen. Let's talk about Lex Luthor.
Oh hell yeah, Lex Luthor. I mean, people were giving him so much shit about him being like the mad scientist and stuff. That's how he was before he became the bald, evil genius guy. Nobody really knows that, but that is how it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when people are like saying, "Oh, it's too stupid," I mean, read a fucking book.
Well, yes, I agree, but whether what was I gonna say?
Yeah. I don't know.
But like, look, Lex Luthor is kind of not, you know, that's like a whole topic altogether. But I do think that Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is misunderstood. I think his acting is okay in parts. Some scenes it's great, some scenes it's not so great.
Yeah, like he overplayed the goofy mad scientist, if I do admit.
But you know what? There is a scene towards the end that they did cut out where he says, "But who would believe me? I'm insane." Something tells me that he could have just been playing this up because he knew so he wouldn't be able to stand trial.
Yeah.
You know? Which, let's face it, I wouldn't put Lex Luthor above something like that. That totally seems like something he would do.
Agreed.
Because it's either go to a place that's going to treat you nice and bring you like applesauce every day, or or a place where you're going to get rammed in the ass. And Batman's like, you know what? You're going to play. You're not the insane plea. But you're going to Arkham.
That's worse.
Which is notorious for fucking just being the worst place. No one wants to go there. Let's just say that. No one.
Hello.
Hey, that's that. Hello, you second person.
Hello, second person. We're having comic book discussion. If you want to chive in or ask questions, please leave a comment. I will read it. So, yeah. What were we saying?
Fuck! I lost my train of thought again.
So did I.
Okay, whoever's watching this right now, there's two of you. If you could message Zach and remind me what the hell I was talking about, please, because I do not have a very good attention.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was the Arkham.
Oh yeah, that Arkham is like the worst place, and now Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is going there. That's even worse than prison.
Yeah, that's much worse than prison. Beyond the fact. much worse than any jail, even Blackgate. Because number one, like the most psychotic minds are in there. Especially the Joker, I think of it.
Yes, the Joker,
And as I'm a comic book reader, and they don't get along, Lex Luthor and the Joker, a lot. In fact, Lex Luthor has tried to betray the Joker a couple times in the past. And this could be the start of like their frenemy relationship.
hey, you want to take out the Justice League? I want to take out the Justice League too.
Like, did we just become best friends? Yep.
Yeah, which isn't what happened in Batman v Superman, mind you.
Yeah. I think we discussed it in the last comic discussion, but they didn't just automatically become best friends.
It wasn't even friends. I'd say it was more like a newfound. It was more like a mutual respect.
Agreed. A mutual respect.
I mean, they could have been handled better. It really could have, but I understand what they were going for, and what they were going for was actually really, really good. One thing that sort of kills the scene for me is that I think I probably said this in the last discussion, but Batman's voice modulator is damaged in the scene in the fight with Superman, so it's going in and out, and it just sounds weird.
It kind of does.
I mean, it was one of those things they could have either had the voice modulator on, and it would have been great, powerful, or it could have just turned it off, and it still would have been great and powerful. But because like they had to like it goes in and out, it's just weird.
Agreed.
You know?
Yep. I breathe fire, bitches! I'm sorry, I'm also going. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how long have we been going for? We've been going. How long have we been going for?
You're the one streaming it, so.
Yeah, let me just. I think I started the stream at 12:53. Like around 12:40, so we've been going for about half an hour. We can go a little bit longer.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Only been half an hour?
Yeah, it's only been half an hour, yeah. Yeah, so
Fuck.
on the context of DC, when Shazam comes out, I heard that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's gonna play Black Adam.
He looks like Black Adam, so.
I was about to make a racist joke.
He's not even black!
No.
Samoan!
Yes, I know. Actually, he's gonna play a Samoan like demigod in a kid's in a couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah, he's Moan. Yeah.
I can see why they went with him. But at least they actually got someone Samoan to play a Samoan character.
Yeah, he could have also played Aquaman. I mean, Jason Momoa was Jason. How do you pronounce his last name?
Momoa.
Momoa. He wasn't a bad choice. By all means.
Well, if they got The Rock to play him, The Rock's too big, and you can't buy The Rock as someone that could swim through water fluidly. Whereas Momoa's big, but he's still lean enough that you could still buy that this guy could swim through the water no problem.
Agreed.
Like The Rock, I think The Rock as Black Adam is perfect. It's just a matter of who they would cast to play Shazam.
Yeah, who would play Shazam?
I don't know, because and that's also a character you could afford to be funny, because Shazam's alter ego, or Captain Marvel alter ego, is a kid. It
is a kid, yeah.
So in a lot of the Justice League cartoons and in Young Justice, which criminally did not get a season 3, but I do recommend watching the show.
It should have gotten season 3. That was left unfinished.
It really.
I wanted to see that cooking.
Yeah, but look, they had so many jokes. You could do so much and have so much fun with the fact that it's this 30-year-old looking guy with the mentality of a 7-year-old, You could do so much with that.
Yeah, I agree. You could do so much, yet it was wasted.
Well, they haven't. Yeah, with Young Justice, I don't know what they're gonna do here. I don't know who they're gonna cast as Shazam or Captain Marvel, whatever they're going for. But for whoever it is, you need to have basically a big guy who could do comedy and is not above getting silly.
The only person I know that can really do that is Jim Carrey, but he's kind of not very buff.
Scrawny as shit.
Yeah, he's not buff as shit. He is among the scrawniest man I've ever known in my entire life. But
yeah,
anyway.
and you know, he did the Kick-Ass movie, and I don't think he didn't promote it because like it came out right after the movie was finished right after Sandy Hook. And there was a lot of gun violence in the movie, so he was like, you know, I don't feel right promoting this. Admirable, but I think he should have stood by what he did because I don't think there's any correlation. But
yeah,
it's admirable.
It is admirable. Agreeable, 100%. Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey seems like a good guy. So.
He is a good guy. I met him once. He's a pretty good guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So let's think. Who else could play Shazam?
You know, there's a lot of unknown actors that
could
get. Like, you know what? Even people who have like bit parts in something that, you know what I mean? Like fucking Ezra Miller. Like I only knew him from Perks of Being a Wallflower. And tell you the truth, I think he's gonna make a kick-ass Flash. You know?
Yeah, I've honestly never heard of him until he was announced as Flash.
I mean, I love the Flash TV show. I really do.
It is a good show.
But I think Ezra Miller's gonna... I'm not gonna say he's gonna be better, but I definitely think he's gonna be on the same level.
Agreed.
And from what I heard, there's like a scene that got leaked. There's no visual of it yet, at least, but a description of the scene got leaked. Of when Batman finds out, he seemed like the Flash. You know,
yeah,
it's
like
not like it's dark and. It's not like it's a dark and gritty Flash. It's the Flash, you know.
Yeah, I get what you see. I see what you mean.
And I was worried, like, if they were gonna do the Flash, make him dark. You know what I mean? Because you know what, you could do Superman dark. You know what I mean? Batman has to be dark. You know what I mean? The Flash you can have fun with.
Agreed.
And I think they're going to do that. And you know what people said? People are complaining that there's going to be a lighter tone for Justice League. Tell you the truth, I really believe that that was their intention the whole time because you have characters that are fun. You know what I mean? You have Cyborg from Teen Titans. You remember Sonic Boom?
Sonic Boom! Yep.
Or, you know, I still got the Sonic if you still got the Boom.
Yeah.
And the Flash, you know?
Oh yeah.
Who's notorious for being a wise ass. You watched the Justice League cartoon just like I did.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I do think that the lighter tone is deserved because it's not just focused on these characters anymore, you know?
Agreed.
And you know what, they're saying that Aquaman might be the darkest DC movie. Dude, Aquaman's a badass.
He is a badass, but I can't see him being the darkest. I mean, seriously, he was originally made to be comic relief for DC Comics.
Well, think about it. Now, after, I think like in the mid-90s, after I forgot what his name was, took over, Aquaman started, like, it's very political because he's the king of Atlantis. It's very medieval in a sense because Atlanteans are basically a medieval culture underwater.
Pretty much, yeah.
And see, it's like he's a firm ruler. You know what I mean? He has a zero bullshit attitude. You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I could see why this is going to be, quote-unquote, the darkest movie. I mean, I don't know what the story's going to be yet. Aquaman is still a long ways down the road. But I can guarantee you, like, right...
Black Manta.
Yeah, That's a good question who they're gonna do as the first Aquaman villain. But you know what I would think would be pretty cool?
His brother.
I don't know if the yeah, but I don't know if they're gonna do this because I don't know if the Aquaman movie if it's gonna be set before or after Justice League. But if it's set after Justice League, I think they should have him cutting off his hand to have the fucking spike. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how, like, I guarantee you it'd be, like, the most brutal thing ever. Like, people who don't know the character Aquaman or know Aquaman a little bit, maybe let's say they only know him from Justice League.
Yeah.
And then when they see the movie, are gonna be like, oh my god, he's crazy. But then the people who know the comics and know what comes afterwards, we're gonna be like,
I think I'm running out of ideas.
yeah, me too. I should probably just like get to bed soon.
Yeah, you probably, because I think you gotta go to work. Okay, so this was part 3 of our comic book discussions. If you want to see more of these, please leave a comment in the description below. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Check out Joe's channel, joeydrawz. And remember,
I haven't updated it in like forever, so you're gonna be pretty bored.
Yeah. Remember, when a girl asks for your number, you say, "Of course." Like.
And also, if I know you and you subscribe and you watched, if you're someone I know and you watched this, and if I made myself look like an idiot, please feel free to comment and message me because I don't know, I have no common sense sometimes.
Same here. Same here with any of my friends, especially the two that are watching right now. I think I'm not gonna name any names because I don't want people to get pissed off the privacy stuff. But anyway, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Late.